Hi, my name is Bree and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we're going to be covering a lot of books in this video. So to keep the video moving along, I'm not going to explain every single book. I'm not going to explain like the summary and like the plot and all that stuff. And what I will do, I will leave the books in the description below so you can read the summary. So we're going to be talking more about the Goodreads Awards from 2022, the winners. We're going to be covering the categories of, hold on, let me get my book because it's a lot of categories. The winner for the debut novel, young adult fantasy, horror, sci-fi, humor, graphic novel, and comic. Wow. Yes, so we're going to be covering a lot today. So that's why I don't want to spend too much time on every book. I just want to get this over with. Now there are also other categories of the Goodreads Awards that I'm not going to do. The rest of them I'm not going to do because some of them are like a book in a series that I want to read. Plus I'm getting a little bit in like a reading slump. So I want to take a break from this and just read books that I like actually know I will enjoy, if that makes sense. But before we get into today's video, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel and please don't forget to ring that bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And while you're at it, you might as well follow my social media down below. I will leave the link to my other social media down below in the description. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. So I'm going to start nice and easy, and I'm going to start with the humor category. And the winner of that is The Office BFF by Jenna Pfister and Anna Clinty. I gave that a 5-star rating. So let me just say, if you're not a fan of The Office, then you're probably just going to be like, who cares? I don't want to read this. I don't think I should have won. But I'm a huge fan of The Office. I always watch episodes of The Office. So like if you're like me and you love The Office, you're going to love this book. You will love to see your favorite characters behind the scenes as their actors and actresses. You'll even get to see like about like the producers and like how they make the show and how Jenna and Angela became best friends. You're just gonna see the lovely bond that all the actors and actresses on the show have. I was laughing and crying along with what Angela and Jenna were talking about in the book. I felt like I was actually really there. I've also read other reviews where if you listen to the podcast, you're not gonna learn anything new in this book. So you're like someone that listens to the podcast, this book may be pretty much you listened to already. I'm not sure. I don't listen to the podcast. Up next, we're going to talk about the debut novel winner, and that's going to be Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Graham, and I gave that a 2-star rating. So I had a bit of a trouble getting through this book. I mean, I finished it in like 3 days, but it was really a struggle to like really push myself to read it. I think that this book might be why I'm in a little bit of a reading slump right now, which is why I have to take a break from doing this. I felt really no connection with the characters. I felt like it was a lot of telling rather than showing, and I feel like if there was more showing in the book, then I feel like I could have gotten a better connection with the characters. And plus, I felt like our main character, Elizabeth, was very bland. And there was also a lot of jumping around in this book. So in the beginning, we started like in like the present, and then we jumped back to the past, and then we jumped to the future, the present. It was just very weird how it was laid out. I feel like if the author's just kind of like past, present, future kind of thing, I feel like it could have worked a lot better. It wouldn't have let me so confused. I like books that are more straightforward. I don't want to do a lot of thinking. So it also felt like Elizabeth was a woman from 2022 that was dropped into the 1950s. There was no like 1950s slang. Felt very like modern to me. She didn't feel like a woman from the 1950s, if that makes sense. There was also like a lot of like political aspect of it. So like you have like the women who were trying to get more right, be like something more than just being like a housewife and a mother, and then you have the men that are like on a high power trip and stuff. But like every man in this book was just like so against women and hated women. I just felt like there could have been more diversity with the men characters rather than them all just sounding like the same. Now the only thing I did like about this book is there's a dog in the book. Yes, the dog. His name is Dick 30. Oh my god, I love the dog. He was so clever, so smart. We even got to see like a little bit of his point of view at certain points, which I thought was really creative and clever, and I just loved it. I love dogs. And the best part is the dog does not die in the book. Up next, we're going to go to the young adult fantasy winner, and that's going to be Gallant by V.E. Schwab, and I gave that a 2.5 star rating, and I gave it a 2-star on Goodreads. I rounded down. So I gotta say, I love the writing that the author did. I love the prose. I love how beautiful it sounded. But to me, it felt like it would also a lot of purple salad. If you don't know what purple salad means, it means that it basically takes like 7 words to describe something when you could have done it in like 2 words. With this prose, I also felt like it also helped me get a very vivid description of the house, which was called Galleon. I felt like I was actually in the house and I could like picture like all the rooms and all the little details that the rooms had. So I felt like in a sense it did a good job of doing that. However, it took up, I want to say, like majority of the book, though it was kind of like boring after a while, and there were times where like I would doze off while trying to read it. I did a lot of paragraph dipping because like I was just like, come on, get to the goody, actions already. So I felt like there was really no connection to the characters. The characters felt very bland. Olivia did not change from when she started out in the beginning of the book to the end. I felt like she was the same all the way through. The only character I did like, he ended up dying, so, you know, killed a favorite. Why? The reason why I round it down on Goodreads is because I was so upset with how this book ended. I felt like the author could have done just so much more with the world that she created, and I also felt like there was a lot of like questions that I had that were left unanswered, and I don't know if there's gonna be like a continuation with this book, if there's gonna be like a squeal or like continue into a series. But if this is like a standalone book, then I have a lot of questions, and it just really disappointed me. I'm not happy with how it ended. Up next, we're gonna go to the horror category, and the book that won is called Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. I have no idea if I said that right. And I gave that a 2-star rating. So same thing with this book. I had a problem with how it ended. I felt like there could have been a lot more done with the ending than what happened. It was just like a big major plot twist that I was not expecting. But I also kind of liked that it was a big major plot twist that I wasn't expecting to happen. I like the unpredictability of books, especially when it comes to like horror, mystery, thriller, those categories. So like there was kind of like a different way that like the author could have went with this, and I felt like if he went with the ghost story, I felt like it could have ended so much better, just had like a much better ending. I won't go much into the heavy details of it because it was just done so well in the beginning and the middle, and then like it just kind of dropped off at the end, and it was just like, oh.
Here lie Squidward's hopes and dreams.
So I actually really loved the main character of the story. Her name was Mallory, and I felt like I was able to connect with her. And it also left me the question was, did the author have to like speed through this book, like especially the last half? Did he have to like rush to finish it? Because I felt like it was very rushed, and it just could have been a lot better. Hey guys, editing Bree here. So I just wanted to jump in and say that this is not my full review of Hidden Pictures. Now that I'm sitting and thinking about it as I'm editing it, it's actually way more problematic and it's way more complicated than what I said about the book in this video. And I want to be able to go in depth with it with you guys and have a conversation about it and why it could be so problematic, and it can cause like major issues for people who are struggling with their gender identity. So like I said, it's going to be a much longer video, and I want to be able to talk about all of it. So I will be posting a video of it, of my full review, hopefully the last Thursday of August or the first Thursday of September. So if you want to watch that video, I would suggest subscribing to my channel and hitting that bell, because when you hit that bell, you get notified whenever I post a video. And then once that video is also up, I will leave it at the first link in the description box. Now we're going to move along to the sci-fi winner, and that was The Tranquility, I don't know how to say that, by Emily St. John Mandel, and I gave that a 3-star rating. So this book also jumped all over the place, but it kind of made sense because it's a time traveling book. I'll be honest, like in the beginning, like the first like maybe 3 or 4 chapters, I was very confused as to what was going on. I was like, huh? I know we're in 1912, but, well, actually we were before 1912. And I was just like, okay, so why are we learning about this character? Why are we starting here? But then it kind of made sense to the timeline as you read further on. So I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I get it. And I also love like how like at the end of the book, like you can see everything just kind of come back in a full circle, and how like each of these like little events that happened in the beginning of the story how it all connected, and I thought that was really clever with how the author did that. Then another issue I had was I couldn't connect with any of the characters really. I think it was because they were doing a lot more telling and showing. Like in the other book I mentioned, if they did more showing, I felt like it could have connected better. And I felt like the characters had like also no personality, so it was just like, okay, should I be rooting for you? I don't know. One character I didn't enjoy was the character from 2020. I felt like it was more relatable because I think it was because the author like did like the pandemic also in the story in 2020, so we were able to kind of like connect that way. So really the only that's really the only part in the story where I really connected. The one thing I did not like about the writing was the author used the same writing for all the time periods. So we jumped back into 1912, 2020, 2203, and 2401, and I thought that was she could have done a lot better with that. I feel like she could have took the opportunity with the future years. She could have really like dived into like the English language and see how like could have evolved. So the last book we're gonna talk about is actually my favorite one. I'm actually so in love with this series, and I really wish I read it sooner, but I read it because of this. So we're gonna get to the graphic novel / comics winner, and that's Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman, and I give that a 5-star rating. You were able to see a little bit of a development of it in the other volume, but this one is where they really nailed it on the topic, and I thought the author did such a good job because we do not get a lot of representation with this in books, at least where it was done well, I should say. If you don't want the spoiler, then I will leave a time mark here on the screen where you can skip to, where I don't talk about the spoiler anymore. Charlie suffers from an eating disorder, and we were able to see it in the earlier volumes of the series, but it didn't get addressed until now because Charlie took a turn for the worse. His depression got really bad, and his eating disorder also got really bad. His boyfriend Nick realized what was going on, and he was trying everything that he could to help Charlie, but in the end he couldn't do it himself other than just be there for him. So Charlie ended up going to the hospital to get better. Even though when he came back, he still struggled with the eating disorder, like, and adjusting back to like real life again. And I thought that was so like clever of the author to do, because then we were able to see that like just because you go away to get fixed, it does not mean that you are automatically fixed when you come back to your everyday life. The reality of it is you struggle to get back into the swing of things and to take all of your life like issues and on top of your eating disorder issue and having to find ways to cope with it. Really get like an in-depth conversation about mental health, and I thought this book did such a good job at doing it. Like, I mean, I was crying along with Charlie and Nick, and I was just like, oh, my heart. I think I'm gonna start crying now. To sum it up, I basically really liked the mental health representation in the book. As someone who struggles with mental health, I really appreciated the way the author went about doing it, how even after you recover from it, you still have struggles with it. Of course, I love the art style, I love the writing style, I just love everything about this series. I'm biased, so of course I'm going to give it a 5-star rating, and I'm going to boost the hell out of it. And honestly, I really don't have any issues with this book. I have nothing I didn't like, and that's very rare. That's very rare. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm not going to be covering any more categories unless I somehow read it, the book later on, then I'll do a book review about it. But for now, I'm done with this little mini series, I want to call it. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below if you share my opinion with any of the books. If you disagree with any of my opinions, let me know. I would love to have a conversation about it. Until next time, I will see you guys next Thursday. Bye!